Hi there, this is Ajit Navlaka, co-founder of EverCoach, and today we have a very special video. We are in times of crisis and we are releasing this three-part series just to help you out navigate this time on what to do with your business, what to do in your personal life and your emotional states, and also how to really work from home. If that is something that you haven't really experienced in your life as of now, we're going to cover all of those over the course of the next couple of days. So today, we are going to focus on one of the three elements, but over the course of the next 2-3 days, you're going to get other videos that are going to cover all these other elements. So today, what we are doing is we are talking about business, how to maintain or talk about your business or work on your business in times of uncertainty, in times of crisis, in times of when things don't seem like they're going the regular way and we don't really know what to take as action. Now, what I've done is for today's video, I've invited my partner, Neeta Bhushan Navlaka, to come on this video with me. She is a champion of survivor. She has survived many different circumstances in life and of course in business as well. So I'm going to have her join me on this conversation, and welcome to this video.
Hi, you guys. Yep, Neeta Bhushan Navlaka here, and I'm super excited to be able to serve you in actually our living room today. So the socks are off, and basically we're just going to get into it. Ajit has his slippers on, but we really felt that this is the time. This is the time, and we felt that it was so important to be able to address you all here right now, where pretty much everyone is on lockdown, and there are a lot of things that we do need to address. You guys as coaches, you guys as leaders, you guys are pretty much the front line in terms of serving others. You know, we have a saying at in one of our companies, Global Grid Institute, that we have to be able to serve love. And how are you all doing that in times of crisis, when maybe your own state is in your own internal feelings are being shaken, and rightfully so. We are in unprecedented times here. Things are unpredictable, things are uncertain, and really leadership around the world, it's calling for more of each of us and each of you to really take action and take big leaps forward. So let's just kind of dive into it.
So let's get into the first key lesson, the first key idea that I found really useful when in times of crisis. And this is inspired also by the 2008 crisis, which took out a lot of businesses. And that was one of the key things that I think we learned as a business to be mindful of in case when the world is changing too fast, when the world is moving too fast and you can't really predict the future, you want to be mindful of. And that is be frugal, but also be fearless. And here's what this means. You see, in the times of crisis, in times when things are changing too fast, everything that you invest in, it's very important, because you don't know an investment that you may predict, oh, I'm going to invest this in now, and it will pay off in 6 months from now. The world will change in 6 months, which means you don't know if your investment is actually going to pay off in 6 months, which is why you want to be frugal. You want to be aware towards what am I investing in? Am I evaluating each of the line items that I'm investing in right now, and will it be relevant, or do I feel that internally I feel the confidence that this actually will stay relevant in the time that are to come? And again, this is very predictive, it's very intuitive. There's no formula I can give you on how to really evaluate each of the line items, but do evaluate each of the line items. That means evaluate your team, evaluate your marketing expenses, and evaluate your product expenses, evaluate each of those items. And second thing you want to be fearless. And the reason is because one of the key things that I found, the businesses that didn't survive 2008, or the ones that we were observing in 2008 and we didn't see them much of after a couple of years, were the businesses that at that time got scared. Being frugal and being scared is different, right? If they got scared, what they did is accidentally, they cut something that was their lifeline. This usually tends to be marketing in companies, is where people go, oh, times are tough, let's cut advertising, let's cut reach out, let's cut investment in learning about how to really market in these times. All of these things that you cut are actually lifelines of your business most of the time. I'm not saying it's true for everyone, but it's true for a lot of us, right? And because that's the lifeline, it's almost like you're saying, let me just strangle myself and see if I survive, right? You're going to cut all the bloodstream going to your body and moving through, or as if you cut through your veins that are going to your heart. If you cut all of them, there is no chance of survival. You're just starting a ticking time bomb. You're just basically saying yes to slow death instead of fast death, and that's all it is. So you don't want to be in the mode of saying, oh, how do I survive this? Your question should be, how do I thrive in this? What's the most well thought out investment I can make in this time for me to constantly grow and prosper and keep moving forward? And accidentally don't, just because of fear, don't give in to cutting your life source and your life force. Actually invest in it. We double down on advertising, we double down on marketing, because we know that there's a void is getting created, right? People will get scared. Some of the businesses will get scared, and you may be feeling that fear a little bit. But if you in this time say, I'm not going to give in to this fear, I'm going to plow through, I'm going to see how I can thrive in this environment, what's going to happen is you may be the next leader that the industry will see. Because this is the time when leadership is really, really seen. This is the time when leadership is built. So my invitation would be frugal. Definitely evaluate everything that needs to be evaluated, but be fearless.
I think that's such a great point that you just shared, Ajit, because I think that a lot of times when things are uncertain, when things are, when there's so much of the news show in your face, and this 24/7, call for your attention, and this call for your distraction to have your eyeballs glued to hearing and repeating and hearing the same things and seeing what's happening. I mean, obviously things are changing. Things are kind of have been rapidly changing in the last few days and the last few weeks, and you want to be able to know things. However, that fear only causes triggers in your body. And there's a reason why a lot of those businesses in 2008 didn't survive. I mean, they were acting out of fear. And some of you might be watching this right now thinking, yeah, I can't travel anywhere. My business is mostly travel. My business is mostly gathering with other people. My business is doing live events, or my business is speaking. So you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I have to change my business model. So to that, I'm going to say, just give yourself a minute to pause. What if this was an opportune time? This was an opportunity for you to go inward. Because as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as coaches, we're constantly in the doing. We're constantly in the doing, and we're constantly serving others and serving our clients. But what about serving yourself right now? In 2008, and I'm going to share just a really quick story to give you context. But 2008, I was graduating from dental school. And in 2008, when the market crashed, there was nobody that wanted to hire a junior dentist who looked like she was about 18 years old in their office. Probably looked like I was a liability, but also I was fresh out of school. I was the newbie. I was a new kid on the block. And when people were downsizing, when people were, doing this and they were so paralyzed by fear, they weren't hiring. So most of my colleagues either went on to do other courses, they went on to volunteer. Some even sat on the sidelines because they had mom and dad to kind of hold them afloat. I didn't. For those of you guys, many of you guys know my backstory, but I was orphaned at 19. I lost my mom, my dad, my brother. I've been through a lot of crises modes. And I can go through all of the different crises points. We'd be here for days. But I mean, it's true, and it's real, and it's surreal. And to see that this time shall pass. Like that time that my mom was diagnosed with cancer, that passed. Like that time that my brother died suddenly, that passed. Like that time that I knew I was leaving my first marriage. Very pivotal moments of shifts, of change, of transformation. And in 2008 specifically, when I knew I had to put food on the table, when I knew I had to pay bills, when I knew I had to pay the loans, I knew I couldn't just wait and submit resumes online. There was just no way. I had to be relentless. I had to be fearless. And that meant you know what, every single day, and I remember this so vividly, every single day while friends were just submitting their resumes online, I basically was knocking on different dental offices, door to door, saying, I can work shifts, your Saturday shifts, Wednesday mornings, early mornings. I can be that, third extra doc if somebody calls in sick, if you're taking a vacation, I will be there. I can do your, emergency calls at night. You tell me. I had to innovate. I had to think outside the box. I had to be fearless. While all of my colleagues were sitting out on the sidelines, not really investing in themselves or waiting for this time to pass because they chose to, I chose to step up. I chose to take action. I chose to do something different. Now for you, maybe that is taking action. Maybe that is spending time going inward. Maybe that is spending time on mastering yourself. In that time, I graduated as a general dentist, but also I was taking all of these different courses on the sidelines on the weekends because I'm like, how can I get the necessary skills to be different in that industry? And I became a cosmetic dentist because I was taking all of those extra classes. Now, what can you do to grow yourself that you might not be the best at right now? Maybe it's getting better on camera. Maybe it's being able to practice your sales pitch or your offer in a way where it's not so salesy. Maybe it's being able to better connect with your clients. In this way, as a leader, as a coach, you are the ones that are going to be able to, how can you serve them? How can you serve them so powerfully right now, here in this moment, when most people are having to work from home, when most people are needing to either calm their nerves and be okay in this uncertainty, in this difficult time?
So this is great, and I want to kind of highlight 4 key things that Neeta shared in that story that I think is important for you to capture. First is crisis creates character. If you listen to the story that Neeta just shared, you will see that she as a person was building her character while everybody else was building theirs, right? There were people who were sitting down and sending resumes, and that was their character. They were building that character, saying, that is what character means. I'm gonna hustle, but that will be on my couch, on a computer, sending out emails, right? There was a different level of character that Neeta was building. She was like, everybody's doing that. What can I do that will help me stand out? She learned in that story, you can see, she learned on saying, how do I stand out in times when everybody is not willing to stand out, not willing to take that risk, not willing to say, I'm going to get uncomfortable, and because I'll get uncomfortable, I'll move forward, right? What is it that you are doing? What is the character that you're building? It's very important for you to remember this, and it's very important for you to take a note of saying, what's the character I'm building? And it's important also because this is very different from 2008. It's no way we are saying it's the same situation. You can't go out knocking on doors. Doors are closed right now, right? But you could do other things, and so you want to be mindful. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow a lot more. But you can do many things that will build your character right now, and I invite you to be mindful to that, because crisis will build character, and your character is getting built right now. And very importantly, your family is watching as you're building this character, because we are right now together, all of us in the same house. Your kids are watching, your husband or wife is watching, your parents, if they live with you, they're watching. Everybody's watching. So crisis is building character. Secondly, which I think was amazing that you highlighted, and that is that people remember nurture. People remember you, how you show up in time of crisis. Yeah. When Neeta showed up at all these dentist places, said, hey, I'm going to do the night calls if you want me to do. Hey, I'll do this to support you, this to support you. People remember that. People remember the nurture that you have given them when nobody else would, or the world would look like nobody's nurturing, nobody's supporting each other, and nobody's helping each other. And even if the world thinks everybody's supporting each other, but not in the capacity that you can, right? So you want to invite yourself to also think about, oh, how am I nurturing in this time? How am I nurturing my audience? How am I nurturing my relationships? Because this time, when you're nurturing these relationships, may not financially reward you immediately, but it is creating that nurture, and people remember. People remember, oh, that person did that. The third key pointer that Neeta highlighted was learning. This is the time to learn, you guys. This is the time when you are sitting on the couch, you can decide to listen to Jimmy Fallon and watch 3 movies a day or 5 series. That's his recommendation that you do. Or you could consider that this is the time where you say, hey, I'm going to pick up a new skill. I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to learn something new that I would have otherwise not learned. What is that for you? You could be on YouTube watching this video, or you could be on YouTube and watch Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or whatever that is that you like to watch, right? Instead of entertaining only, of course, entertain yourself, because it can get really annoying to not entertain yourself. But is that the focal point, or is that the focal point of saying, hey, what am I going to learn during this time while I can't really do anything else? So invite yourself to learn. And lastly, I think, which is amazing that you shared also, is get creative. Get creative. Put yourself out there and say, okay, what is the different thing? If you were somebody who were getting clients through events, get creative. What is different that you're going to do? Are you going to say, all right, so I'm going to get creative, and I have another couple of weeks, a couple of days that I'm stuck here in the house. I'm just going to write my book outline, or I'll write my creative outline for my online program. I saw this meme on internet, and so I don't know if it's any true, but somebody said that during Newton's time was when the Black Plague was happening, or one of those crazy situations was happening, and because he was in social isolation because of that, is when he saw the apple drop from the tree and hence discovered gravity. Now, I have no idea if that's true, but I think the story itself is powerful, right? You could be more observational, you could be more creative, you could be thinking about things differently than you have always thought about, because you have that space right now.
It's so true, and I think from a biological perspective, what's actually happening in our brains when our minds are in fear mode? Because there's actually a lot happening, and if we are typically left brain, if we are typically operating from cortisol that's being released, and our brains are kind of going into fear mode, fear activates your fight and flight response, which means that you go into that primal mode, and that primal part of our brain kind of lights up, like we have to, protect our loved ones, or, run from a tiger literally out in the woods. Can you actually be creative in that space? No. You're going to the stores, and you're hoarding like, toilet paper, and you're trying to get as much milk as possible, and you go and you see like all of the shelves are empty. That is reacting from fight or flight response, fight or flight mode, which means that you're operating from, am I safe? Is this safe? Now, from that place, you can say, oh my God, and you can start ruminating on these negative emotions, and ruminating, or turning that into a space where we can get creative. And how do we do that? Well, from a bodily standpoint, if our left brain is activated, and we already do this normally when our brains are kind of firing things to do during the day, and we have a certain level of stress levels that we have to kind of and fires that we have to put out on our day-to-day basis. But now, what can you do to shift your brain into that right brain mode, which means that it's coming from your parasympathetic nervous system? It's only activated when we do certain things, which you guys already know, which is breathing, which is why meditation is obviously so great. These are the scientific benefits to it, but it's also why taking up a new hobby or creativity, that's how it's going to encourage all of those, the dopamine, and going on Instagram will definitely do that as well, but having something creative that you're doing, learning something, watching, those courses that you haven't finished, or writing that book outline that you said you were going to do, this will also activate the muscles in your brain and the brain chemicals in your brain to fire up and say, okay, this is a moment of courage. This is a moment of creativity. This is a moment of motivation. This is going to get me to action, to taking action. These are all of the results for moving your mind into that right brain, for moving yourself into that right brain place where you can actually take action. And you have the dopamine, you have the serotonin, you have the oxytocin if you're kind of living with other people, or if you're having FaceTime or Zoom, or being able to just connect with the people that you serve. So you can really be able to take kind of the crises that we're in and shift it so that we are actually serving. You're serving others. And we've been talking about this for the last few days, like how do you actually go into service as a coach, as a healer, as a leader, because people are looking to you to be that role model right now, especially right now. And if you allow this time to actually take that pause, take that break, and truly allow for that, maybe it's discomfort, but allow for that space to be able to tap into an innovative space, like you were talking about, like Newton. It was from that place of observation that he was able to see that apple fall from the tree. What about you? How can you cultivate that? Just by not reacting, but by paying attention, but by just letting it simmer. And maybe it's allowing yourself to read some of those books that have been collecting dust on the shelf. There's so many ways to do that.
That's amazing. And I want to talk a little bit towards the fear thing that happens. And again, this is very important, because if you don't shift your attitude towards fear, if we don't shift our perspective towards how we should respond in times of uncertainty and crisis and so forth, we won't be able to take action. So no action is going to become applicable till the time we address what Neeta just addressed, is the fears that you might have, the flight or fight response that you might have. And here's another way to think about it. I'm sure at some point in your life you've experienced a negative spiral. And if you observed how you get into a negative spiral, is basically something bad happens, and then you start thinking about that something bad, and you start to observe more bad things that are happening and bad things that are happening, and slowly you are coming down into a negative spiral. And soon you find yourself that you can't really see anything good in the world. And that may be happening with you right now with media, social media, all that's happening with good news and bad news and fake news and so forth coming together to create that spiral for you. The world is giving you all the invitation to say, just go down this spiral with me, because that is more attention of yours towards all this sometime bullshit stories that are out there around the particular topic that creates more and more fear. But if we go down this negative spiral, if we go down this path, we're going to end up in the situation that Neeta was talking about. We're going to feel like a failure. We'll get into a state of inaction. We'll take very little scared actions, and we're going to not really be able to respond to what's happening in the changing world. We'll feel like the end of the world instead of just a change in the world, and so on and so forth. So
bad decisions.
And it'll lead to bad decisions. And all of that doesn't really help, right? Because you're worse situation than you started, even if the world hasn't probably gone to that worse situation. Now, I'm not trying to say we should just go out in the world right now and not listen to the health reasons why you shouldn't be. But what I invite you to do is to see how you'll break that pattern, right? So, and like Neeta already advised, learning, creativity, these things help you break the pattern, because otherwise what's happening is you're getting a set of information, you're taking scared action because of this set of information. Because you take scared action, you get a really bad result to the action that you took. And because you got a bad result, now you have a new belief that things are going wrong and things are not going to go right, and that you should lose faith in your business or your capabilities or your abilities to be able to translate your knowledge and intellect and abilities into revenue for yourself and change for other people. And if that happens as a cycle, you will see soon enough your capabilities will start to actually disintegrate and become lower, because you'll start to lose confidence in yourself. And that's the last thing you need in times of change. You are an impact maker. You are somebody who wants to create real change in the world. If that is the truth, or one of the truths that you have for yourself doing what you do, I invite you to change the narrative. If the world gives you bad news, see the good in the bad news. Try to see what is the positive that you can do. And if you can't see it yourself, take help from the learning and the books and the creativity that is at your disposal. It's available to you at all times, anytime, right? Go ahead and use that to move yourself from a place of fear, anxiety, and just disdain to something that's positive, creative, and helps you move forward. So I invite you to take positive action and positive momentum towards something that actually will help you go from a downward spiral or create a downward spiral to creating an upward spiral, and then take people with you. because this is what people will remember. Here's an invitation for you. If you haven't already done this, while you're at home, while you feel you can't really serve anybody, go ahead and text everybody that has come through your network, through any communication that you saw as a potential client or is a client. Go ahead and reach out to them. Just ask them how are they doing. In this time when we can't physically meet each other, we can virtually meet each other. We can actually have a conversation in a different setting, but we can have the conversation. We can have a dialogue. We can actually build relationships. We don't have to hold back on relationships because we can't physically be in presence of somebody. It might be a new paradigm. It might be a new reality soon where maybe that is even better for people to have those virtual relationships. So I invite you to think about who are the 20, 30, maybe even 100 people that you'll like to text and say, hey, how are you doing? And this is beyond friends and family. Of course, do that for friends and family, but I'm talking about beyond that. People who you've met in life and say, can I just reach out and say, hey, how are you doing? And hope they're doing great and have a conversation with them if they're not.
I just have a question, because all the things that you've been kind of sharing, these are all ways that we can all serve and serve powerfully around this time. But I know that some of you have some deeper questions in terms of your business. And so what guidelines do you have for people who are thinking, oh my gosh, do I have to change my business model? Do I have to innovate right now? Because for some of you, you might have to innovate. If you were just making most of your monthly revenue on live events or speaking, you will be affected by this. And this is an opportunity, and that's why we're kind of addressing this here. So I wanted to shift into that dialogue of how we can actually help you think creatively, but also in terms of revenue. I mean, for those of you who were relying on speaking and doing live events as your main source of income or your main monthly source of revenue, you will need to look into innovating. But if you're going to be coming from a reactive place or a fearful place, like, oh my gosh, no one's going to be investing in themselves, or how can I, instead of asking, how can I help somebody? So I kind of want to know, what are some of the three things that people can do right now to evaluate their business in terms of crises at this moment?
So I think a great way to do it would be if we give example of our business. So me and Nita are in business where we consult and coach companies, startups or companies that have already been very successful, and help them really take their message further and really create an impactful business while generating freedom and revenue for the company. So the company is called Global Green Institute. We are partners in that company. And in the company, what happened was we had an event coming up on April 17th. So it's about a month from when you'll watch this video. And of course, April 17th is too risky a time. We'll probably still be in the social isolation kind of setup, or even if you would be out of it, people would not be very willing to say, oh, I'm going to take the next flight all the way to New York and attend the event, which meant that we had invested a significant amount of money to book the location and do all the stuff that we will not see as immediate revenue, but the deposits have been made, which means money is out of the bank account, and we are fortunate that the venues are being kind for everybody and saying, yes, we'll move your events to later in the year, so at least people don't lose their deposits and they're able to, and flights and everything. I think the world has been kind to each other in this time and saying, yes, we can evaluate, we're all going through this, like we're in this together, which is awesome. So we were able to move the thing, but at the same point in time, that was also the way we made revenue, right? That was the event where people would come in and if they loved what we were doing with them, they saw us as partners to success, they would sign up with our program called Success Partners, where we work with you for about a year to get you from wherever you are to where you want to be, right? So we kind of went, okay, so we have staff, we're still paying salaries, we're not going to compromise that. We're not going to say, this is crisis, I'm not going to pay you. No, that's not who we are. So we still have salaries to take care of. We still have people to take care of. We still have tasks to take care of. We have our partners to take care of, but we have no new source of revenue. So what do we do? Here's how you get creative. You ask yourself a different question. It's like, all right, what's the essence of everybody saying yes to this program that we have, say Success Partners in this scenario? Why does somebody want to sign up and work with me, Anita? Well, the reason is because how we understand business. And if we can show people that capability, which is exactly what happens at the event, where when you come to the event, you see how understanding we are and how adaptable we are based on different types of businesses because we've built many different businesses ourselves, which means our just insights availability is much broader than most companies, which are very focused on one type of business. We've built health-related businesses, we've built online businesses, education businesses, coaching businesses, consulting businesses, and so forth. So our insights are really broad, and hence we can really adapt to the person that's coming to the room. Be like, hey, listen, if that's the case, what if we simplified business for people, and instead of relying on an event, we created a proposal where people would come to a class, maybe a 40-minute class, a all-on class, where we sat down and really showed people what's possible for them if they were to work with us. And it's really simplified for them, because that's really the most complex thing that is right now online. Is businesses become really complex because people think they need to do like everything and so forth. So we said, okay, what if we just sat down and we just recorded a video and sent it out to our set of people. Now this video is yet to get out because we just got into this situation, but we already have an adaptive plan which allows us to actually interact with our audience beyond the event. Now, some of you may go, Ajit, but I don't understand anything about it. And that's exactly what I mean, is in times of crisis or any time of business, if you want to scale your business, if you want to scale your company, you got to understand the atomic elements that create your business. You got to understand what really creates the business from the bottom up. And that's really what we understood. What creates a successful coaching consulting business? Success for clients. How do we get success for clients? We get success for clients through some certain step processes, which is what we're going to do in that training. And we go, okay, these are the steps of processes. So we can actually show them these steps, and we can go, hey, listen, if you look at these steps and if it makes sense to you, you are invited to work with us, right? We also understand what is that client really wanting, right? What is the desire of the client, right? So we are looking at the atomic elements. We're asking questions that are very much what it's called first principle thinking. Is we're saying, what is the elements that are really building up to the outcome that the person really wants? And we are diagnosing each of these elements and adapting. So if you're in a situation where, like Neeta was sharing, you have a live event that you go and you enroll clients there, or if you are somebody who hosts the live event and hence enroll clients from there, you have many things. If event is absolutely necessary, there's no way to really simplify your knowledge in such a short period of time, go ahead and do it virtually. That's a way to do it. It may have some drop off, but people, like I said, are being really kind. People are really, really awesome. Humanity is so awesome right now. Is people are like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this on virtual. I get it. I'm sitting at home as well. I will take the time and do virtual. A lot of our friends are doing that right now, and they're finding equal amount of success that they were finding before. Not equal, but somewhat similar success that they were finding before. So yes, they had to adapt, but it didn't mean everything had to be shut down. If you are able to simplify your knowledge, I would say this is a great time to write that book, write that online training, write that course. Because if you write all of those things, that is the best way to organize information in your mind and translate it to your clients. People don't understand this, right? The reason why we write so many books, and every year there's a book that we have written between us, and we collaborate on pretty much every book that we write, is that every time that book comes out, I have a way to actually explain to you exactly what I mean. I don't have to like put random pieces together. It's not hyperbole. It's not some random piece of thought. It's actually structured. I'm like, to write a book, you have to write the structure of the book, which means you have to structure your thoughts. It's amazing what you can do with a book, a course, an online training, or a virtual event.
Well, yeah, I think that there's definitely the time to seize the opportunity when you have something that kind of shines a light in your face that says, oh, this might not be the way. So, and how else can I get creative to serve the audience that I'm serving right now? And for some of you, it might be one-on-ones. For some of you, like Ajit was saying, it might be, you just heard our debacle, our big situation that we had to make a really tough call on. And many times this will call for your judgment. It will call for that tough decision-making as a leader of your business and as a coach, right? And so, but I want to be able to, answer this question for you guys in a different way. I'm going to take a different approach to what you just said, because everything that you said was definitely spot on. And for those of you who are really thinking like, well, okay, but how is this going to impact me over the next 90 days? How is this going to impact me for the next 90 days? Because we don't know what's going to happen after everything opens back up and things are getting back into normal. There's all these things that are kind of swimming around at this point. But what we do know for sure is that if you are not able to understand your finances right now, this is a great time. This is a great time to do a really deep analysis. I know everyone's kind of saying to go inward, to go inward, to go inward. But what I'm really asking you to do, and what we're going to invite you to do, is take a good look at the internal structure of your business. And maybe it is to see, well, what is it that actually brings you revenue per month? And what is it that that in each different department, whether it's marketing, whether it's overhead, and for some of you might have really easy, clean structures, maybe you've never looked at it before. Because that's possible. We know a lot of our clients and a lot of our students tell us they've never seen a balance sheet before. They just kind of give it to an accountant or somebody like monthly. But I invite you to look at that. Take a look at your credit card statements. Like, let's go back to the basics. Let's get really clear on just going inward. Where are you spending that money? Are you doing Facebook ads just because it's cool? Or is there a reason to actually do it right now? Because while in 2008, a lot of people jumped out and they stopped advertising, they stopped doing marketing, many people who decided to stay in, their businesses doubled and tripled during that time. So this might be a golden opportunity for you as well. But you won't know that unless you're actually aware of all of the inside workings of what is actually currently happening inside of your business. Most of us haven't had the time because you're busy serving clients and you're busy going on call to call to call, or making calls, or making opportunities, or creating in the doing part. But what about now we go inward inside of the business and we kind of dissect what is working and what's not, and what we potentially can be put on hold. Next, if you've never budgeted before, next thing would be to start putting a budget on things. And some of you, this might be, well, I don't know what that looks like, or I've never been really good at finances, or it could be, a belief. Get an app, get help. Take a course around that, because of course things are going to be a little interesting. It's a weird time right now, it's bizarre, but for you to have the awareness of, okay, I am a coach, I am serving, but I also need to be aware of all the nuts and bolts and ways I can actually budget, so that you have that room to invest in yourself, so that you have that room to kind of monetize on your growth, right? And third, you want to be able to surround yourself with community. And by the way, obviously it's not going to be live and in person, but this is an opportunity to really challenge yourself. So 2008, we didn't have the capabilities of going live. I think, Facebook was just starting out at that time. So even the complexities of being able to utilize it for business, that was just not really there. Now we can. Now we can do voice conferencing calls. Now we can have our community, invite people to engage online, dialogue online, and really start collaborating with other people. Because the only way, and because like we shared in the beginning, we're in this together. We're all in this together. So you guys coming here and watching this in your living room, that means we're all connected. And we are all connected, and it is such an amazing time. So be able to offer that with other people in the industry, because there could be ways of collaboration where you can serve at a much greater level that the planet and the universe is really calling for at this moment in time.
So those are really great golden nuggets, and really reorganizing and reimagining your finances. And if you feel a little tricky about it, you don't know how to really work on your finances, like Neeta said, take a course, read a book. We'll put up some links to some of the books that are great that you can get online. You can read on your iPad real quick and get some understanding of how to think about money. Just to be mindful about money, because in times of crisis, you don't know how the clock's going to turn, right? So here is one last nugget. We've been talking about many different things, but we wanted to make sure that we gave you something that was actionable. And these are all actionable steps that you can do right now while you are in social isolation, while you are working through this time where people are kind of like reevaluating a lot of things. Take the time to really take each of these steps and really think about them and see how you're going to translate that to your business. This is just good advice. This is not hyperbole. This is not me saying this is the prediction and this is what you should do, because in times of crisis, it's very hard to make long-term predictions. All you can do is create short-term predictions. So I invite you to use this solid advice to see what you're going to change in your business. And if you have follow-up questions, what me and Neeta are committing to right now is if you will leave a comment to us and tag us in those, we're going to come respond to you. We're going to come and actually answer your questions specific to the challenges that you may be facing. We're going to try our best effort to be able to respond to each one of you and really help you out here in this situation. So go ahead, any questions, challenges, concerns that you may have, go ahead and post in the video below, on the comment section below, and we are going to come respond to you. Now I want to leave you with one note. In times of fear, in times of crisis, the one thing that goes first is belief. We all start to believe that things are going to go to hell. We start to believe things are not going to work out. And that is where we as human beings and humankind have to support each other. We have to support each other in context of helping other people believe, and we have to support each other in context of helping ourselves believe. Because if we can't believe ourselves, it's very hard to offer that belief to somebody else. So what me and Neeta want to do today here is we want to offer our belief to you. We believe that this time will pass. We believe that you're stronger than you imagine. We believe that you have gone through many adversities before and you will get through this one as well. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, definitely take care of your loved ones, but know that, like everything, this will pass and you will be okay.